I'm Brandon Jones McGeer. I am the Executive Principal and Presiding Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation. This is the second reading of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns Ethical Regulation. May 18th, 4:38 p.m. As a representative of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns, the O.C.B Administration, it has been stated public service is a public trust, which means each member of the O.C.B Administration has a responsibility to the member states and their citizens to place loyalty to the O.C.B Administration policies, international law, and ethical principles before and above private gain. The international community deserves and should expect no less. Once you are aware of an ethical question, the automatic response should be determined by the official rules and financial regulations of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and according to international law. Section O.C.B Administration Ethical Regulations Requirements. 1. The overall public service is based upon public trust, which means each member of the O.C.B Administration has responsibility to the member states and its citizens to place loyalty to the O.C.B Administration policies and national laws and ethical principles above private gain. 2. Principals and employees should not hold financial interests which conflicts with the conscientious performance of duty. 3. Principals and employees should not engage in financial transactions using neither non-public nor non-official information and/or allow the improper use of such information to further private interests. 4. Principals and employees should not accept, as permitted by international law, solicit or accept any gift or other item of monetary value from any person and/or any entity seeking official action from, doing business with, or conducting activities regulated by the O.C.B Administration or international law, or whose interests may be subsequently affected by the performance or non-performance of the principals or employees' duties. 5. All principals and employees of the O.C.B Administration should put forth their honest effort in the performance of their duties. Principals and employees. 6. Principals and employees should not knowingly make unauthorized commitments or promises of any kind purporting to bind the O.C.B Administration or the member states. 7. Principals and employees should not use the office for which they currently serve as a source of private gain. 8. Principals and employees should not act impartially nor give preferential treatment to any private organization or individual. 9. Principals and employees should protect and conserve O.C.B Administration and member states' property and should not use it for other than authorized activities. 10. Principals and employees should not engage in outside employment or activities, including seeking or negotiating for employment, which conflicts with their official responsibilities and duties of which they are sworn. 11. Principals and employees shall disclose race, fraud, abuse, and corruption to the Executive Services Chief of the O.C.B Administration, who will open a formal investigation into the allegations. 12. Principals and employees should satisfy in good faith their obligations as public servants, including all financial obligations that are within their individual control. 13. Principals and employees should adhere to international laws, regulations that provide an equal opportunity for all citizens of the world, regardless of race, color, sex, religion, age, national origin, and/or disability. 14. Principal and employees should endeavor to avoid any actions which creates the overall appearance that they are violating international law or the ethical code as set forth within. Rather, particular circumstances create a appearance that international law or the aforementioned ethical code has been violated should be determined from the perspective of a reasonable representative with knowledge of the relevant facts. Gifts from outside sources. 1. Any principal or employee may accept an official gift during official business as long as it is surrendered to the O.C.B Administration, Executive Services Department, to be formally cataloged as presentations and its official value calculated. 2. Gifts presented during official visitations should not be used for private or personal gain. 3. Principals and employees or their spouses should not request gifts directly or for any other uses not in accordance to the O.C.B Administration mission, its policies, and/or international law. 4. All gifts are to be fully documented and an item number assessed, of which should be appropriated to the Executive Services Department of the O.C.B Administration for safekeeping and later official use. 5. The documentation of official gifts received should be on the spreadsheet template and saved in PDF format, of which must be kept in a hard copy binder and bears the Great Seal of the O.C.B Administration. Outside activities. 1. Principals and employees may engage in outside activities which may include civic, charitable, religious, and community services work performed without compensation. 2. Principals and employees may not engage in outside activity if the rules dealing with conflicting financial interests or the appearance of a loss of impartiality will require the employee disqualification from matters so central or crucial to performance of the official duties which will be materially impaired. Respecting the mission of the O.C.B Administration. 1. Principals and employees and the general public should act in conformity with the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO and not endanger personnel or the official mission of this administration. 2. Principals and employees and the general public should not engage in activities that are based upon the hate of individuals. The O.C.B Administration will not condone such behavior. 3. Principals, employees, and the general public should not engage in liable acts against the Office of the Commissioner for Burns, the O.C.B Administration, or any other entity which has some form of connection and or working agreement with the aforementioned mutual aid. 4. Any individual who willingly takes it upon themselves to engage in liable acts against the O.C.B Administration or any other entity of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO will be met with the same anti-aggression. We cannot nor will we recognize this kind of behavior. These individuals will be held accountable for their actions. 5. Any individual who engages in falsifying documents, of which requires the signature of the Commissioner for Burns and or the Deputy Commissioner for Burns, will be held accountable for their actions, and all pertinent criminal charges will be filed. 6. Any individual of a public safety agency who willingly engages in liable acts that attempts to discredit the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO or any other entity of the aforementioned will be held accountable for their actions, and all applicable charges will be filed in a court of law. 7. Any individual who willingly engages in the acts of threatening any principal or employee of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO or any other entity of the aforementioned will be held accountable for their actions in a court of law. 8. Any individual who willingly engages in the destruction of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO property will be held accountable for their actions in the court of law. 9. Any individual who willingly steals from the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO, the member states, or any other entity of the aforementioned will be held accountable for their actions, and all pertinent charges will be filed. The Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation. 1. The Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation is hereby sworn and entrusted with the responsibility of advocating and assisting those around the world who are in the need of direct assistance relating to everyday life. This extends from health and human services, human rights, burns and disabilities, ensuring basic access to health care, education, housing, food and water, and eradication of sexual assault against women and children. In addition, eradication of discrimination, public safety management, enforcement, and policy support, which includes police, fire, EMS. Furthermore, nuclear disarmament and nuclear terrorism response, and humanitarian affairs, etc. 2. The Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation is the official representative of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO, the OCB Administration, at which is displayed by an official 14-karat gold ring which bears the Great Seal entitled Commissioner and the official navy blue gold trim uniform of Russian device. 3. The Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation is to be respected at all times. The OCB Administration protocol should be adhered to and not neglected at any time. The aforementioned may only be addressed in the following: Mr. Commissioner, Your Excellency, or Commissioner in their name. No other form of acquaintances will be tolerated. 4. The OCB Administration will prosecute any individual who willingly takes it upon themselves to harm or endanger the life of the Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation. 5. The OCB Administration will hold responsible any individual who willingly engages in defamation of character against the Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation or takes part in the spreading of libel intentions. 6. The Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation is hereby appointed to office under the wishes and needs of the member states. This appointment is permanent. 7. The appointment will only terminate at the retirement or death of the aforementioned, in which case the succession protocol will be followed and the Deputy Commissioner for Burns and Representative Delegation will assume office. The Deputy Commissioner for Burns and Representative of Delegation. 1. The Deputy Commissioner for Burns and Representative Delegation is vetted by the Executive Services Department of the OCB Administration and appointed by the Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation. This appointment entitles the aforementioned to the same privileges as the Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation. 2. The Deputy Commissioner for Burns and Representative of Delegation is the immediate successor to the Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation in the event of the death or resignation of the aforementioned. 3. The Deputy Commissioner for Burns and Representative of Delegation is the Deputy Managing Director of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO and or any other entity of the aforementioned. 4. The Deputy Commissioner for Burns and Representative of Delegation shall act in conformity to the mission and official role of the O.C.B Administration and the interests of the international community. Structure of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns. The Office of the Commissioner for Burns is an intergovernmental organization founded in July of 2008 by 5 countries, which constituted its original membership in relation to international law and practices still used today. Today, the mission of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO, the O.C.B Administration, is to promote international peace and security, and to that end, assist at the international level member states with issues pertaining to health and human services, nuclear disarmament, burn center policy, management and necessary support, ensure positive access to education and health care. In addition, eradication of discrimination based upon race, sex, creed, and or national origin. Furthermore, public safety management, which includes direct assistance and policy support, i.e. law enforcement, fire, EMS services. In addition to the above, humanitarian response to all emergencies when an event has caused great loss of life or threatens to cause such. Moreover, educational services in the areas of human rights, disability, and burn awareness, burn fire prevention and violence, and sexual assault against women and children. To develop friendly relations with governments of member states which are based upon mutual respect for one another, achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of economic, social, cultural, or humanitarian character, and promoting as well as encouraging respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. Executive and succession principles of the O.C.B Administration. As you are aware, the presiding executive is the Commissioner for Burns and Head of Delegation, and the official representative of the Office of the Commissioner for Burns and IGO. The General Rules of Financial Regulations of the O.C.B Administration requires the CFB HOD to install a formal cabinet to assist with the overall mission and representation of the international community. The Executive Cabinet, which constitutes the senior leadership of the O.C.B Administration, is established in the form of 20 assistant commissioners and appointment of special representatives for the various reasons and or causes that requires. the direct and sincere appropriation of the O.C.B Administration general and specialized budgets. Furthermore, subsequent titles establishes the official cabinet. 1. Commissioner for Births and Head of Delegation, presiding executive and official representative. 2. Deputy Commissioner and representative of delegation, deputy managing director and immediate successor. 3. Assistant Commissioner for Foreign Affairs, representative of diplomatic affairs, and second successor. 4. Assistant Commissioner for Health and Human Services, third representative for Social Services, and third successor. 5. Assistant Commissioner for Protocol and Public Information, representative for Public Information and Formal Procedures, and fourth successor. 6. Assistant Commissioner for Legal Affairs and Chief Counsel, Head of Legal Department, and fifth successor. 7. Assistant Commissioner for Human Resources, Chief of the Executive Services Department, Chief of Human Resources, Chief of the Executive Services Department, and sixth successor. 8. Assistant Commissioner for Finances and Chief Financial Advisor, Chief Financial Officer, and seventh successor. 9. Assistant Commissioner for Fire Services, Senior Fire Officer, and eighth successor. 10. Assistant Commissioner for Law Enforcement Services, Senior Law Enforcement Officer, and ninth successor. 11. Assistant Commissioner for Communications, Senior Communications Officer, and 10th successor. 12. Assistant Commissioner for Terrorism and Intelligence Affairs, Senior Advisor on Terrorism and Intelligence, and 11th successor. 13. Assistant Commissioner for Specialized Camps, Representative of Specialized Camps, and 12th successor. 14. Special Representative for Political Affairs, Political Advisor to the CFB, HOD, and 13th successor. 15. Special Representative for Haitian Affairs, Senior Advisor on Haitian Matters, and 14th successor. 16. Special Representative for Japanese Affairs, Senior Advisor on Japanese Matters, and 15th successor. 17. Special Representative for Nuclear Affairs, Senior Advisor on Nuclear Issues, and 16th successor. 18. Special Representative for Humanitarian Affairs, 4th Representative for Emergency Humanitarian Response, and 17th successor. Chairman of the Committee of 12, Advisory Council, and 18th successor. This completes the second reading of the O.C.B Administration Ethical Regulation, May 18th, 2012, 4:56 p.m. I thank you, and God bless the citizens of the member states.